You know, with the director himself personally stating that he wants critics to avoid revealing plot points, you'd think that would make it hard for me to review this film. Well, I accept your challenge, Mr. Villeneuve. Hi, I'm Danny Quinn, and welcome to the latest episode of First Impressions. On today's episode, I return to the world of Blade Runner for the sequel set in the year 2049. This movie is set 30 years after the events of the original film, and revolves around a new Blade Runner played by Ryan Gosling, who goes in search of the legendary Rick Deckard, played once again by Harrison Ford. And that's all I'm going to say about the plot of this movie, because I do want to respect Mr. Villeneuve's wishes. Before I start this review, let me make a little confession. I hadn't actually seen the original Blade Runner for the longest time, but with the new film coming out, I finally tracked down the Ultimate Collector's Edition and watched all 5 versions of the film. And yeah, it's still a great film. A flawed one, yes, but still a very powerful and outstanding film that holds up very well after all these years. I might even have a few videos on the original Blade Runner coming soon to the channel, but in the meantime, let's discuss the sequel. And before I start, this review will be spoiler free. I won't be giving away any plot points in this video whatsoever. And like with Mother, I will be doing a spoiler video on this film, but for the meantime, this is just going to be a spoiler free video. So when I first heard that there was going to be a sequel to Blade Runner after more than 30 years, I was definitely curious, especially with the choice of director, Denis Villeneuve. He's a very talented director with the likes of Prisoners and Sicario under his belt, but his previous film, Arrival, really impressed me. It was a very powerful, very thought-provoking and very emotional film that really showed that Villeneuve could do hard sci-fi in the same way that Ridley Scott could have done in his prime. And that film was pretty much enough to tell me that he was definitely the right guy for the job, so I was pretty excited to see what he could do with the new Blade Runner film. And it definitely pleases me to say that Blade Runner 2049 is a solid sequel, as well as a solid film in its own right. It really feels like a natural continuation of where the original Blade Runner left off. On a technical level, this movie is astounding. The cinematography, provided by the incredibly talented Roger Deakins, is stunning. It's probably one of the best looking movies I've seen all year. Yes, the world of Blade Runner is a very dark and dingy place, but with a lot of vibrant colours, neon lights and rainfall, it makes for some surprisingly pretty imagery. The shots in this film as well are just so well staged, with great attention to detail. It's one of those films that I think will make frequent appearances on One Perfect Shots page on Twitter. Likewise, the soundscape is brilliant. It really captures the future setting in this movie, and it can make the movie feel surprisingly tense in places too. And Hans Zimmer's score, in which he collaborates with It composer Benjamin Wallfisch, makes for a very fitting and atmospheric soundtrack, even if it doesn't quite reach the same heights as Vangelis' iconic score for the original film. However, the sound can be a little bit overpowering in places. It's a little bit bassy. Probably the bassiest movie I've seen since Dunkirk. And I'm not sure whether that's because the sound was too loud in the cinema or because the film is just that loud and booming, but it did catch me off guard quite a lot. And I also really like how this movie expands upon the setting of the original Blade Runner. The original film was not a small film by any means, but it did sort of feel a little crammed, and you never really saw much of the world outside of Los Angeles. It was only really hinted at. But here, there's a much bigger scope, and you get to see a lot more of the world of Blade Runner. It really highlights just how much the world has changed since the original film. It's a much darker and more dystopic place, which is really saying something considering this is Blade Runner we're talking about. I won't say much else about the movie's plot, but I will say that it was intriguing, and I like the way that the movie explored its central themes, even if a few moments do feel a little bit on the nose. And while it is very slow, a little light on action and fairly long, it still managed to engage me all the way throughout, and I never felt like it dragged at any point. And the performances are excellent too. Ryan Gosling does a great job in the lead role, and Harrison Ford really slips back into the role of Deckard with much ease. And the rest of the cast are all in top form too, with the standouts being Jared Leto, who's really creepy and mysterious, and Dave Bautista proves he can do more than just play big, tough guys. Now normally this is where I would talk about what I didn't like so much about the movie, and there is a couple of things that kind of fell flat for me, but they are going more into spoiler territory, so I'll save them for the spoiler video. Nevertheless, they aren't bad enough to actually kill the film for me, and I think Blade Runner is still a very good film regardless. It's very well directed and written with a very thought-provoking and engaging story. The acting is solid throughout. Visually, it's one of the best looking movies I've seen all year, and the cinematography is gorgeous. It's not quite a 5-star classic in the same way that the original is, but maybe that's just because I've only seen it this one time so far. I intend to see the movie again before doing my spoiler video, and I do think this movie will grow on me over time. What I will say about this movie is that it's definitely one of the better belated sequels we've gotten in recent years. It definitely deserves to join the likes of Mad Max Fury Road and Trainspotting 2 as one of the best belated sequels of all time. I'm gonna give Blade Runner 2049 an 8 out of 10. I definitely recommend this movie if you're a big fan of science fiction or you're a big fan of the original Blade Runner. But do keep in mind, if you are going to go see this movie, I do want to stress one thing. It is not an action movie. Don't go in expecting lots of action, because you are going to leave very disappointed. So those are my thoughts on Blade Runner 2049. Have you seen it yet? If so, what did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back soon with more videos on the original Blade Runner along with my spoiler-filled video on this film. And in the meantime, feel free to like the video, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. If there's anything I can do to improve my presentation, let me know. I can also be found via Facebook, Twitter, email and Instagram. And until next time, I'm Danny Quinn, and I hope you have a pleasant evening.